this video is going to be super important for you if your CELPIP exam is coming up and you're preparing for it. You want to learn how to get a speaking 10, 11, or 12 because believe me, most people fail in speaking. You will get a 10, 11 maybe in everything, but in speaking you might just get a 6. That happens with native speakers as well. Speaking is a hard part, but we're going to discuss today how to work that in, how to get our 10 plus points, and we'll discuss that in the first 4 questions. We're going to discuss samples. We're also going to discuss how to use the templates correctly with the right grammar, with the perfect vocab range, and in a way that it impresses the examiner. Plus, we're going to do part 2 of this video series this week sometime, so it's going to be pretty quick in a few days. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and you'll get an update once that video is uploaded. So let's get started with the first 4 questions and discuss a very easy way to handle it. Let's look at the first question. Your friend has decided to take a road trip from Calgary to Toronto. He's thinking whether to travel via car or by plane. Suggest to your friend what would work best for him. All right, this is that typical question. Question number 1, where you make a suggestion. Simple, easy way to do it. Introduction, of course, you want to greet your friend how you normally do. 3 suggestions, firstly, secondly, thirdly. Finally, you finish off with, I hope you understand my suggestions, and that usual greeting that you have with friends. And I'm going over this a little fast because I really want to show you in a sample how to do this correctly. If you want to know the appropriate words, the exact wordings and sentences to use, just type on this channel, 8-Set Education, CELPIP Speaking Template. There's tons of videos with that, and you'll know exactly what sentences to use. But without further ado, I'm going to get started with this topic. I'm going to start my timer here for 90 seconds. Let's go. Hi, Bob. How are you? I heard that you have this exciting plan to travel. I'm not sure if it's for vacation or you're permanently settling in Toronto. It's exciting though. Now listen, I did hear from your mom that you're confused between going in a car or a plane. Let me tell you, my friend, if you go in a car, it's going to be approximately 36 hours. So firstly, you don't want to do that. It's going to be a burden on your time, on your energy, because you're going to have to drive all by yourself. I know there's no help these days with you. That's why I don't really recommend it. Secondly, the weather right now is crazy. There's snow and ice the whole journey from Calgary to Toronto, especially when you're stopping by near Winnipeg. You're going to have a lot of snowy conditions and windy conditions too. Hence, this would be very unwise for you to do. I would never recommend it. It is almost like calling death upon yourself. Don't do that. It is silly. Thirdly, if you travel by plane, honestly, if you're thinking about the costs right now because of COVID, costs are very less and you'll save a lot of money with some good deals. Plus, think about the time that you're spending, the 3 or 4 days you're going to be on the road. You can just spend that working and you can make up that money you will lose in plane. Hence, I really recommend going in a plane, safer and wiser. I hope you understand my suggestions. Talk to you soon, buddy. Take care. All right, so I was constantly looking here on the right because I'm looking at my timer and I'm under 1.5 minutes, which is fine. I think I'm around 1 minute 25 seconds, which is where I aim always because you don't want to finish more than 10 seconds before the finish time, and you don't want to finish right at the finish time. Always target a few seconds earlier to show that you're in control, you didn't rush it, and you were very smooth with the whole topic. Perfect use of the templates, the 3 points. I was very natural. I talked about his mom, that she told me something. I talked about COVID, real life situation. So it felt like I knew this guy and it was very normal, not robotic, not made up, not memorized, but it was very natural. And I used some pauses, a lot of emphasis as well. When I'm telling him it is silly or it is wise, volume goes up to show emphasis and show that you really mean what you say. Okay, let's look at question number 2. Describe a childhood memory that you hold close to your heart. Explain what it is and why is it so special. Okay, template. There are many and one of them is. Then you describe the whole situation, the whole thing. Then you have your emotional connection, and then you have that's all that I have for you today. So this is again part of the templates. If you haven't looked at the templates, don't worry. At the end of this video, you're going to have a playlist link. Just click on that and you'll be directed to everything you need for CELPIP. Okay, now I'm going to get started. This is 1 minute speaking. Let's start my timer. There are many amazing memories that I've had in my childhood, and one of them that I would point out was when I was in a debating competition. This was a time when everything was against my odds. I was in an inter-school debating competition with some of the sharks of public speaking, and no Toastmasters club could have competed with the guys and girls in that competition. I was against the wall in this type of competition. I was scared, I was weak and inexperienced. However, what I made sure was to have enough practice to ensure that I go in with full confidence and assert my authority in that competition. Lo and behold, that is exactly what happened. I needed that for my college application, and what happened was, without any surprise, I was victorious. I was in the first place. I won that competition, which looked like a very amazing accolade to show in my college application, which is what really made me proud of this memory and achievement. That's all that I have for you today. Finished at 58 seconds. I like to finish at 55, but got a little carried away because this was an actual event. So that's why if you pick real things, you have real emotions attached to it. I was really proud of this moment. I was really happy that this happened and I was able to use it, show the emotional connection at the end, described everything in the middle. And you can kind of notice that I was using a lot of fancy words on purpose, like assert my, what did I say? Assert my dominance or authority. That was one I used. Then I used something like odds were stacked against me. And so on, like I don't even remember, but whenever you get a chance to use good vocab, you do that. You paint a picture, you don't just say that there was a competition, I went in, I won. It's like you describe the whole scenario. It was tough, best competitors out there, I won. It's like going with friends and telling them a story, entertaining them, describing the picture. But what it is doing mainly is showing the examiner that you can do task response and you can do a range of vocabulary because you have all those words. Okay, it is hard to do, but with practice, using the templates, it becomes easy. With practice, it becomes easy. And also, learning vocabulary and grammar becomes really easy. If you don't know a lot of those things, just subscribe to this channel. You'll get lots of vocab and grammar lessons to help you out with this test. Let's look at this picture. This is part number 3 of your CELPIP speaking. Okay, so I'm going to leave that picture up there, and I'm going to start my 1 minute right now. Right about now. Okay, in this picture, I can see the scene of a classroom, which rather looks cluttered. If you see the background, there are lots of charts and things hanging around, lots of content up there. In front of that, you have a teacher who looks almost like she is in a sarcastic or demotivated demeanor, looking at a student who is raising his hand in the foreground of the picture. The student probably is a troublemaker, I would assume, because nobody looks happy at the student raising his hand. We can also notice the kids on the left-hand side, they look pretty agitated, or I would say nervous, or at least I can tell they're not happy. That I can guarantee. No expression around the room reads happiness or positivity or curiosity. It just feels like some trouble is going to happen as just one kid is raising his hand and everybody else looks pretty grumpy. That is not a normal classroom, or at least not a very fun classroom, but that is what we can notice in the picture. All right, guys, that is about 56 seconds. Describing the foreground and background is a very old trick, and sometimes it's good if you can do it naturally, if you can explain things in a way that you really wanted to explain. For me, I described the background with the content. Background with the content. Foreground, I talked about the kid raising his hand. So there were things to say, but just don't make it robotic. Don't say in the background we have this and foreground we have this without describing things enough, because that is where it feels like you have just memorized those words. Okay, I usually use a lot of furthermore, likewise when I connect things, when I connect people in the picture. This time I didn't because I just wanted to get more into the story. I wanted to describe what people are doing more. Describing the story helps you use so many adjectives like nervousness. Someone is nervous, encouraged, demotivated, excited. I use so many. And the more you use, the better it is. Adjectives give you a range, and a range gives you marks. So let's talk about the next part. What do you think happens next in the picture? Let me try my timer again, and let's do 1 minute. In this picture, what I believe is probably going to happen next is that kid is going to ask a dumb question. I think it's inevitable. And when that happens, the teacher's probably going to scold him because she already looks like she wants to scold him. When that happens, I believe the group, the class, not only the ones on the left, but the ones on the right, probably everybody will start laughing or giggling. At least that's what you can expect from young kids without signs of too much maturity. And when that happens, I believe that kid who is the troublemaker, and troublemakers typically sitting on the last row of the class, which this guy is, and troublemakers don't really feel guilty, and I think that is going to be the case here. This kid would probably do more of, I would say, instigation with the teacher, cause more trouble, and probably not lead to anything positive in the class. Overall, I think that would continue for the next few minutes. That's all I can expect to happen next in this picture. I'm kind of disappointed in myself for using too many ands. I would have hoped I used something else, like more connectors. Pauses help me if I cannot think of any connectors, or I'm too busy talking about points that I cannot use connectors. I pause to help myself. But because I realized that, I made sure I put an overall at the end to show the examiner that, hey, I'm aware, I'm doing my connectors as much as possible. And using a range of vocabulary, expressions, especially adjectives, how they are feeling, that helps you describe the picture more, gains marks for fluency and vocabulary, and makes the examiner really happy. And if the examiner is happy, you're happy, you get good marks. Now, if you want to speak like me and you want to learn the secrets of CELPIP, you want to go to this playlist. This is a 7-day playlist, a 7-day CELPIP crash course for everything: speaking, writing, reading, and listening. It covers all the major topics and everything you need to do at home for practice to get yourself better. And you would learn not only the templates that will really help you speak like me, but you would also learn or notice, at least from this video, to speak like me, you gotta have excellent vocabulary and almost no grammar mistakes. And that is another lesson in itself. So you gotta check out a few more videos to really improve yourself. Check out the playlist there, and please subscribe as well if you like this channel. Like and share as well if you find value in this video. And stay tuned, because part 2 is coming very soon with more samples and more details for you guys. Thank you and take care.